Hello again everyone, I'm Sean and welcome back to Luthier. This is video 5, the second last video in my series for my entry to the Great Guitar Build-Off 2021. In this video, we're tidying up an awful lot of the guitar, getting it sorted, getting it ready for finish and all that stuff. To start this off, we're going to sand back all the veneers on the headstock and that, get it looking like a headstock again. Gonna have to cut the heel access, carve it out, because currently it's a big square block. It's not that comfortable. That'll be a lot of fun. Just fire up the angle grinder and go to town until it's comfortable. Looking forward to that. After that, I am going to rediscover my truss rod access, which we had cut already, but the veneer has now covered it up. So I'm simply going to use a drill to find it and then a scalpel to excavate the area. Once I have the truss rod access discovered, I'm going to put in an inlay. Last year, I noticed a lot of comments saying, oh, it looks great, but there's no headstock inlay, so it looks cheap. So I'm gonna make sure I get it done this year. I just ran out of time last year. Simple as. After all that, we're going to do a bit more tidying on the body. I need to do a bit of a round over on the back. It's quite square at the moment. Doesn't look fantastic, but get that done. Little baby round over and do an awful lot of sanding. Bring it all up to 320 grit. So let's head out, start doing a lot of that work and get it looking more like a finished guitar. Away we go. Now after all that, it is really starting to look like a finished guitar. It's getting there. Next thing I want to do is work on the headstock. Since putting on the veneer, I have lost my truss rod access, so I need to find that again. By doing that, or to do that, I'm going to use a drill, and I know roughly where the access is. So I'm going to drill down into that cavity and then use a scalpel to just excavate out the veneer out of the way. After that, I need to put on a headstock inlay. I need to put my name on it. I need to write in Owen. I didn't do that on my build-off last year, and I noticed some comments. So we'll make sure it looks finished this time. Let's go ahead, do that. With that all done and dusted, I want to move on to the pickguard area of the body. So I need a proper way of attaching the pickguard. I've decided I'm going to use magnets. So I have a couple here, they're 10mm magnets, decently strong but not too strong. The first two are going to be quite easy on the underside of the pickguard, between the bridge, between the pickups. And then for 3 corners here, which are going to be the most dippy, I guess, I'm going to glue in some, I made these sapele blocks. One to go there, just to take a magnet, one to go down there, and a third one, which I shall glue into the top like that. I can then install the magnets into them and counterpart magnets into the pickguard, and that will hold it all in very nicely, very securely. It's already a really good fit, so I'm not too worried. These are just to make sure they stay in. I'm also going to drill 3 holes for my knobs, volume, tone, and a pickup selector, which is actually going to be a blend switch. And of course, I need to drill a hole for my jack. Can't forget that. And one last thing, I need to chisel a little bit of material away for the pickups to sit in nice and comfortably. So let's move on, get all that done. With all of that done, I want to sort out the back of the guitar, make it a little less square and blocky and sharp, frankly. So I'm going to put just a baby round over on the back of it. Not a full Fender style, just a little bit less, kind of closer to what Gibson do. And then I'm going to sand the entire guitar up to about 320 because it's pretty much ready for finish at this stage. Now I'll give it over to my colleagues here at Crimson and they'll do me a really, really nice flash coat finish on it, which will be ready for the next video, I hope. Maybe. Anyway, let's go do that. A lot of sanding. the guitar is pretty much finished, ready to get a finish put onto it. I'm going to get the guys here at Crimson to do a flash coat onto it, which is a good hard wearing but nice and thin, kind of transparent finish. You can see the grain, which I really like. Kind of looks like an oil finish, but is just way quicker and easier to put on. We have a few last little bits to do. We need to make a tailpiece. We need to make some knobs. I've been dying to make a tailpiece for the last 18 odd months, and that's the reason this guitar is actually a Carve top, funnily enough. So I'm going to laminate some ebony with a stripe of, or with a sheet of brass in between it. I think it'll make a really nice reveal. And going to do a bit of work. I'm going to base it on a Benedetto style tailpiece, which is a really nice classic design, but I'm going to modernize it, of course. You'll see what I do. I'm also going to laminate up some pieces for knobs, and I'm going to make them on the CNC. They need to be custom sizes because of that slight little mess up we had on the pickguard earlier, if you remember that. For now, let's laminate up all these pieces and make a tailpiece. Let's go. Now that I have the basic shape of the tailpiece, I need a way to attach strings because that's kind of necessary for a tailpiece. So I'm going to drill some holes in the back which will hold the ball ends of the strings when the time comes. But I don't quite trust the ebony as it is here. It would be end grain. I don't quite trust that, so I'm also going to reinforce it with some aluminium tubing, which will definitely hold the string tension. To access them, I'm going to drill in from the end of the tailpiece. So from the front, it'll look just like this, but with all the strings going through. I think it'll look really nice, and it'll be an absolute pain to restring. But just don't break strings. Easy. I also need a way of attaching it to the guitar body. I've decided I'm going to do it with a pin in the guitar itself. So I'm going to get a brass piece of, I'm going to get a brass tube milled up by one of my colleagues here at Crimson, and machine it so that it fits into a picture hanging keyhole thingy. You'll see it in a minute. But it should then basically slot down onto the guitar, slide up, and be locked into position. It'll have a little bit of movement, but not too much. That way it's still very easily removable for when I need to change the strings, which will all be accessed from the underneath only. Once all of that functionality is dealt with, sorted out, and I'm happy with it all, I need to make it look a little bit less clunky. It looks a bit square at the moment. I'm going to put a nice radius on the top, and then I think I'm going to do some carvings. Just little bevels, just to make it a little prettier. I haven't quite decided exactly what I'm going to do for that, but I'm just going to let the wood speak to me as I go. And hey, what's the worst that can happen, right? So let's jump into all of that, get it done, and hopefully I'll have a nice tailpiece by the end of it. And that is it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching right to the end. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you liked everything we covered in this. I personally love this tailpiece. I can't wait to see it in action. I can't wait to string this guitar up in the next episode. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. Hit the like button on this. Drop a comment if you have anything to say. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be notified the next time I post any new content, like the next video in this series, which will be the last one, where we're going to assemble everything, set it up, do a little bit of a sound test. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope to see you again soon.